She's she's basically our in-house.
And she's gonna roll here in a second. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, Andrew.
Oh, hey, Jacob. How are you, sir?
What's going on?
Happy holidays, feelings in the air. Just happy to be back in Houston for this second year. It's officially a tradition now. So
Yeah, it has.
thank you for adding so much to the night. World's first ever pizza Christmas tree in the house. So
Thank you.
it was very memorable, and yeah, just glad to hopefully do it again. Some other, maybe even next year. We'll just have to see, I guess.
How's Sherry?
Oh, she's doing very well. Hope all is well with you and yours as well.
Cool. So, first of all, let's just start with from the beginning of Andrew WK. Why party?
It just seemed like the most fun thing I could think to do. So, wanted to, be able to devote myself to something, and figuring that it would be good to devote myself to something that was fun. And so I thought, what's a fun thing? And partying was the most fun thing I could think of. So yeah, it just seemed like a good use of time.
Okay, and then so like you help overcome obstacles, and you direct your energy towards a positive motion, and you help people pursue happiness. So how did how did you evolve into that from a musician?
That's a good question, really. I never really sought out to do anything in particular. Those things kind of happen. Yeah, it's puzzling to me as well. It's just a big ball of confusion, really. The main focus, like you said before, is that party feeling, which really is a physical feeling, sort of energy. It's just raw energy. And the good thing about raw energy is people can take it themselves, like a raw food source as well. You can take some, you eat it, and it hopefully makes you feel good. It gives you some spirit to do whatever you want to do. So I just gotta give credit to where credit's due to everyone else who turned this into something that meant anything to them. They got the positive feelings. They actually motivated me to keep going with that. So I consider it a real team effort in that regard, that started just from a very pure desire to create a feeling of energy and spirit, and then people have really built it with me after 14 years.
Yeah, and that's actually, this is a good follow-up question, is how do you see past the bullshit and not allow bad events govern your attitude and the merit of the ones that we love?
It's not easy always. It can be very challenging. But you just, at the most challenging moments, I just try to literally, put one foot, and, just break things down to the most simple things, like, okay, now I'm going to turn this way. Now I'm going to use the restroom. Now I'm going to move out of the restroom and, back into this other room, and just take things as they come.
Be very mindful.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have now shut the door to the restroom. I have now turned the vent on for the next person that might have to go in and use it. Thoughtfulness, but very simple. Because if I thought about everything that was going on, it would be very overwhelming. It could be very crushing. And that's okay. That sometimes it's good to even feel those feelings. Just to try to build a center of strength that allows you to not have to even shut out the bad stuff, really, but to just be able to live, to be strong enough to exist in the world. And sometimes that's just trying to go to the bathroom, I guess.
Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes is actually by Gandhi. Is "Be the change that you wish to see in the world."
I've heard of that one. Yeah, that's a good one. Very good.
And with your party hard stance, you've snowballed hedonism into this amazing effect that you've affected all of our lives, including myself.
Wow, that's
and
very kind of you to say.
With your celebrity platform, it's quite amazing. And you're writing a book called The Party Bible.
Yes. Thank you for asking about that. It is my first ever book, and it is about partying, and that's all I can say right now because it's not been written yet. So I'm not proud of that, but hopefully it is done soon, and then I can tell you more about it. But yeah. I can say that it's not about my life specifically. This is more just, this is the book that I would read to cheer myself up. So I'm trying to, it is kind of what everything you're talking about, just a go-to source that hopefully has some very basic things that everyone is, obviously most likely already familiar with. but it's sometimes good just to be reminded of them. So just a go-to guidebook for getting a boost. That's what I would like it to be.
That's awesome because like I feel like with this interview, it's like this is like my mini go-to Village Voice blog. I love those questions that are asked and you respond to them in a very insightful way.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I love that.
So thank you. It's a pleasure to do, and that's definitely been good practice. That has been probably the biggest bonus towards writing the book. Is getting every week having to learn, even just learning typing and basics about how to write better and things like that. But also getting feedback from people and being able to see, okay, like this actually could work. Maybe there are some folks out there that are thinking about these same things. So
yeah, and so if I were to ask a question, dear Andrew.
Okay.
So say someone cannot afford the Christmas gifts that they would want to purchase for their loved ones, and how you can't focus on the negativity.
Right.
You need to focus on what can you do.
You don't want to steal also.
Yeah, of course. So what would you say to someone that, an unfortunate person that can't afford to give the gifts that they want to people? How can they focus on positivity in life?
I mean, you could give back rubs, foot rubs, any kind of rub really. I mean, there's physical gestures you can offer. I remember seeing on the news many years ago a sort of a holiday story on the news about a young boy who was in this very exact situation. It really blew my mind. I always remember it. And all he had to give was a piece of cardboard. But he wrote on it things that could be used for it. He wrote it could be used as a back scratcher.
Scratch my back.
And you could use it.
I wish I had a cardboard right now.
Could help with that. It could be used as a hat or a temporary block for rain or moisture. It could be used, as a trivet for a hot pot, things like that. And he just had come up with all these very creative uses for something that for most folks was garbage, or just a nothing thing. So it's really, that state of mind that to try to come up with something valuable that you have, even when it seems like you have nothing.
Very good.
Or just a cardboard.
So being in the correct positive state of mind, at times I like to meditate. It's not crossing my legs in a funny way.
You gotta loose hips to do that.
Yeah, to me I like going to the zoo. I like just going to the museum, just being by myself, or just going out in the forest.
Alone time is good.
Listening to the birds. So what do you do to clear your space?
Well, I like that, the sound of that. I mean, travels, in those times of travel, some of my favorite times are just being in the airport. I used to not like it as much, but over the years I found it to be a time where I can just think to myself and not have to really, there's nothing else I could be doing now. Of course, you can break out a computer and try to get work done. I have friends that do that, and I don't think bad of that. But I like it that here's a time when I'm doing something, which is traveling, or on a train or something, and at the same time there's nothing that else I have to do. So it's nice to where you don't have to constantly fill your brain with activity, and like you said, have a time with birds or in the woods or other animals. Being around other creatures is fun. Even if they're human creatures, like in the airport, you can look at oh, look at that person, they're walking around.
Yeah, even just socializing just with the people that you adore.
Yeah, spending time with friends and family. Although sometimes I do agree what I liked about what you said is being alone is underrated oftentimes. People think that somehow it's antisocial or sometimes being by yourself is actually makes you appreciate the times when you are with someone else. So give yourself that alone time too if you want.
And I read that you were into philosophy.
Thank you. I'm not educated in traditionally.
One of my favorite philosophers is Epicurus. Okay. He's one who practiced hedonism in the way of it's not to be materialistic. That's what doesn't define happiness, but just more in the simple mind of just being happy and just being untroubled.
I like that idea. I first heard that hedonism word from that, or hedonism from that adult vacation. Have you heard of that? It's like an adult tropical vacation where you go and have sex with strangers, I think. And I thought, like, what is this word? And then it turns out it's this whole way of life, like you said, like a philosophic way of looking at things. So I like that, the idea that, you know, pure joys can come from, you know, nothing in particular except just existing at all. So that's a nice way to look at things.
And you say existing. Now, would you say that, let's see, here we are, we're alive, and
as far as we can tell.
Death doesn't matter right now because it didn't exist, but equally, life doesn't matter when you're dead because it also doesn't exist. And how would someone that is dying over fear
overcome fear or
of death?
Well, we probably, most of us, I mean, I certainly over fear death, maybe because we don't know what it is, but maybe it's not such a bad thing. I mean, it really could be a non-thing. It could be like, you know, like it could happen, you think like, oh my God, all along this is all I was just this thing, whatever it is. We don't know, but maybe it's not so horrid. And even if it is, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, the pain associated with it, I think, is what's most scary. Because otherwise, it's just like going to sleep. And you might even go to sleep and there's dreams and maybe you just don't wake up, you have dreams, you're trotting along and whatever. You don't think about. The point is, either way, we don't know, and that's what it is. It's the ultimate unknown. Every other thing that we're afraid of that's unknown is probably related to that concept of death and, you know, over fearing the inevitable. But it's something to ponder. I think pondering it and like you're saying, talking about it, that can only help. You know, maybe you don't need to be avoiding it. Just, you know, think about it to yourself.
And that you mentioned pain. Would you say that, you know, like, you must learn to drown before you learn to swim? In a way, like, you must feel pain to know actually what happiness is?
Maybe so. I mean, if I drowned before I swam, I probably would never have the chance to swim. But as I was drowning, I guess I could imagine, like, okay, so this is what drowning's like, and then and drank a bunch of water, and you know, get not very thirsty anymore. Plus, salt water.
Come on, man.
You have a high sodium intake, and that's not good for your heart, even if you did stay alive. So it dehydrates you as well. But yeah, I mean, you gotta run before you can crawl, and then walk before you can rest in a laying down, resting.
Or bleed before you can ride a bike.
Yeah, bleed before you can breathe. Or something, but yeah, I mean, you want to, you know, try to challenge yourself so that you can, you know, have contrast and dynamics and see both sides of life. And of course, you can appreciate good times if you've gone through harder ones. It shouldn't have to be a requirement, but if it happens, you get something out of it. That's for sure.
Well, cool. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Well, thank you, Jacob.
I really appreciate your words, and you know,
thank you for your time, as always.
I read the Village Voice religiously now that you became a part of the team, and I just really love what you have to say on life.
Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you, and say right back at you, and happy holidays, obviously.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thanks for these great questions. I'm struck by them. I've been thinking about them for a while.
Cool. Oh,
thank you,
man. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you
And
as
Merry
well.
Christmas and
Happy New
Year's.
Year.
All right, Andrew WK.